Hi everyone, I'm Sophie, Public Lands Fellow with the New Mexico Wildlife Federation, and we're here today at one of my personal favorite weekend hiking spots in Petroglyph National Monument. Now, back on April 26, 2017, an executive order was issued instructing the Secretary of the Interior to review certain national monument designations made under the Antiquities Act. Given the criteria, 27 national monuments were chosen, and they introduced the first ever public comment period to gauge support for these monuments. Petroglyph wasn't part of that review, but two of New Mexico's national monuments were, the Rio Grande del Norte National Monument and the Oregon Mountains Desert Peaks National Monument. Since this review was ordered, we've noticed that there's a lot of confusion surrounding public lands designations, such as national monuments, different public lands uses, and even what constitutes public land. So this is a start to a new series, and we'll be tackling all those topics. Be sure to look out for more videos over the coming months. And to kick it off, we've got some important points that you should know about your national monuments. First off, national monuments are federally managed public land. Opponents of public lands usually like to call national monuments federal land grabs, and this was actually a term that was used in the speech that accompanied the executive order. But in fact, national monuments are designated only in places where there are vast regions of federally managed public land already available. Any state trust land that exists within a monument can be traded for public lands elsewhere, and national monuments don't impede access for private landowners, who are typically consulted in the process of designating a monument. This leads us to our second point. Designation does not mean that the land is no longer public. We'll be making a video later on about the terminology of federal lands and public lands, but to reiterate our first point, national monuments are public land. The designation is only in place to protect the landscape for sustained use by the American people. And this actually usually encourages more visitation. For example, the Oregon Mountains Desert Peaks National Monument saw an 102% increase in visitation from 2015 to 2016, just 2 years after its designation. That said, rules about hunting and fishing depend on the monument. The two New Mexico monuments that are under review right now do allow hunting and fishing in most areas of the monument, and others, like Petroglyph and El Malpais National Monument, don't. All regulation and rules about outdoor recreation can be found online as you plan your visit. A monument designation only really prevents new or expanded development. This can vary from monument to monument as well, but typically oil and gas leases and grazing permits are honored under national monument designations. And industries who use these public lands are typically consulted in the process of designating a monument. Speaking of consultation, contrary to popular belief, national monuments do not arise out of nowhere. National monument designations come after extensive lobbying efforts from community members and public lands users in campaigns that involve collaboration and consultation with all stakeholders of the proposed monument. This brings us back around to the recent executive order. Though a president can alter the existing size of a monument, there's nothing in place that allows a president to eliminate it. This would likely have to happen through an act of Congress. Before we close this video out, let's flash back briefly to 1906, when President Theodore Roosevelt signed the Antiquities Act into law and designated the first national monument at Devil's Tower in Wyoming. Roosevelt's vision was never to restrict access to public lands. An avid hunter and angler, Roosevelt sought to protect our treasured landscapes for outdoor recreation and the enjoyment of all citizens. This vision has been and always will be the guiding principle for the establishment of national monuments under the Antiquities Act. We hope that this video has cleared up any confusion you might have had about our national monuments. With that, we encourage you to participate in the Department of the Interior's National Monument Review. Public comments for the monuments, which again include New Mexico's Rio Grande del Norte National Monument and Oregon Mountains Desert Peaks National Monument, are being accepted through July 10th, 2017. You can go to the link below to submit your comments through our website or visit the Department of the Interior's website. This is a monumental opportunity, pun most definitely intended, to participate in the management of your public lands and help protect the places that make New Mexico the land of enchantment.